We go again. I gotta laugh at this one. Trump rolls out another anti-woke stunt with his recent Columbus Day proclamation that calls Christopher Columbus the original American hero. It's in the proclamation. You can read it for yourself.
Columbus Day. We're back. Columbus Day, we're back, Italians.
It's typical culture war cosplay. You just gotta laugh. But let's share some history. Let's start with the basics. Christopher Columbus didn't discover anything. He was lost at sea, and he just happened to bump into what we call the Caribbean. You don't get to discover a place where millions and millions of people have called home since the beginning of time. Unless you're just making up a bunch of lies to celebrate imperialism, which this country has a long history of doing. So back to Columbus. He never landed in what we call the United States. He was looking for a route to Asia, he was lost, and he bumped into the Bahamas. But his mission was always about conquest and domination. Wherever this man went, he terrorized indigenous peoples. In his own words, he wrote in his journal that indigenous people would be good servants and that he could conquer the whole of them with 50 men and govern them as he pleased. He was psychopathic, just like all the colonizers who came after him. And the atrocities Columbus committed are well documented. Bartolomé de las Casas describes the massacres, the genocide, the enslavement of indigenous people, the sexual assault of indigenous women. He describes what's happening to indigenous people as a Holocaust. His book, The Destruction of the Indies, will absolutely break your heart. Wherever these monsters went, they destroyed indigenous life. Within one generation, the majority of the indigenous peoples on these islands were gone. And that process was repeated over the last 500 years. Columbus's atrocities were so well documented that Spain even had him arrested and sent back home. And thankfully, people like Howard Zinn was brave enough to tell the real story of Columbus. And it doesn't matter how many dumbass proclamations Trump signs. You're not going to bury the truth about what happened to indigenous peoples after 1492. It wasn't a discovery. It was an invasion. It was about greed, wealth, and power. It was an attempt to erase indigenous peoples forever. That's what Columbus set in motion in 1492. And we've been fighting that shit for over 500 years. So let Trump and his supporters have Columbus Day. It's a good reminder for us to know what we're up against. All right, y'all, happy Indigenous Peoples Day. And Trump, you can take that proclamation and stick it where the sun don't shine.